Okay. All right. I am super, super excited to be beginning another year of this book. How is everyone feeling? Um, I I uh, I don't know if anybody has gotten an opportunity to check out the YouTube, but it's actually been kind of fun. I'm super excited because I had 45 views on one of the videos, and that sounds small in comparison to the world and what we're used to, but for someone who's just kind of throwing themselves out there, I think it's kind of fun that there's actually people out there checking it out. So anyways, I am excited that we're gonna share, even if we don't share our full meetings, that we're gonna share some of the things that we talk about so that maybe others that aren't familiar with this information might be able to gain from insight that we get from the book and clarity, and potentially if they don't know about our book study and want to join, are able to, or if they're not able to within our timeframes, they can kind of check out some of the stuff. So I'm really excited that we're going to be embarking on that this year. And I also created cards for the processes. So for those of you that weren't here last time, what we decided to do this go around, instead of doing all of the processes in order, we are going to pull a card each time, and whatever card we pull, that will be the process we'll do for that time. So we're going to read the chapters in order, but then we're going to pull for the process. And so I picked out a pretty decent tapping meditation for this go around, and I actually did create some update some of the verbiage a little bit to kind of be more specific to what we're going to be doing. And so if everyone is ready to begin, I'm going to go ahead and share the tapping index points, as I always do. Does anybody have any questions about tapping before we get started? No? Okay. All right. So as you can see here, we have the tapping points for you to see. And we are going to be doing a tapping that is called Getting Unstuck and Opening to Something New. I figured that was appropriate since we're beginning again with the book study. So if everybody wants to go ahead and put yourselves on mute, and we will, I'm giving you the invite to happily repeat out loud after I do each segment, or you can repeat it to yourselves. But we're going to start by side of the hand. So go ahead and start tapping side of the hand. Even though I have felt stuck and frustrated, I honor everything I've been through and am open to more ease. Even though I can sometimes feel stuck and frustrated, I give myself permission to relax now. Even though I don't always feel aligned to the clarity I am looking for, I allow my body and mind to relax. Okay, eyebrow. I have felt frustrated. Side of the eye. I should be further along by now. Under the eye. I have felt stuck. Under the nose. And it seems unfair. Under the mouth. I have criticized myself. Collarbone. Trying to push myself forward in resistance. Under the arm. I have been frustrated with myself. Top of the head. And frustrated with life. Eyebrow, I recognize how I feel. Side of the eye, sometimes it seems easier for everyone else. Under the eye, I notice all these feelings of frustration. Under the nose, I notice the story I've been telling myself. Under the mouth, as to why things haven't worked out for me. Collarbone, it's easy to put my attention to everything that's gone wrong. Under the arm, while I ignore everything that's gone right. Top of the head, I recognize all the pressure I put on myself. Eyebrow, and as I honor how I feel. Side of the eye, I give myself permission to relax. Under the eye, I have been trying to push myself. Under the nose, and now I am open to trying love and alignment. Under the mouth, I am open to a new strategy. Collarbone, I open my heart and let go and have faith. Under the arm, I am open to being guided. Top of the head, by my heart and my emotional scale. Eyebrow, with the noise of my frustration. Side of the eye, it's been hard to find alignment with my source. Under the eye, as I now allow myself to relax. Under the nose, I am open to receiving guidance. Under the mouth, I am open to learning my emotional set point. Collarbone, it's safe to feel calm. Under the arm, it's safe to relax. Top of the head, it's safe to trust in myself. Eyebrow, I honor my playful spirit. Side of the eye, by allowing myself to experiment. Under the eye, I allow myself to try new things. Under the nose, I give myself permission to make mistakes. Under the mouth, I give myself permission to change my mind. Collarbone, I have been waiting for clarity towards inspired action. Under the arm, through small steps, I gain more clarity. Top of the head, it is safe to experiment. Eyebrow, I have been putting my happiness on hold. Side of the eye, I have been waiting for all of the answers. Under the eye, but I can feel at peace now. Under the nose, I know that I am being guided. Under the mouth, I am exactly where I am meant to be. Collarbone, from this place, anything is possible. Under the arm, this is just one small chapter of a greater story. Top of the head, I now choose to feel adventurous and free. Okay, we're gonna take a big open mouth inhale. and exhale. And one more inhale. And exhale. All right. How is everybody feeling?
Great.
Good, relax.
Yeah,
Good,
good.
good. Okay, I figure this would be the right time, yeah, for us to pull our process card. What do you guys think?
Do it. And hey, when you get a chance, can you also put your YouTube link in the chat pod again?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. All right, so for tonight, we are going to be doing process 20. So for tonight's book study, we'll read chapter 1, and then we will read process 20. And get that out. Okay, so funny that we're going to one in the later processes. Turning it over to the manager, I think that I think that's beautiful. So okay. Let's see here. YouTube link real quick. I am curious how everybody has been over the last couple of weeks.
You know what,
Good.
Christina? I think this book study is so amazing. And you said something at the close of last session that really impacted me. And I've been thinking about it a lot.
Oh.
And yeah, it was, you kind of said, or the way I've thought about it and interpreted it was like, you're at this place and you've come, you were saying how everything that you thought before has taken you to where you are now. And whatever you're thinking now will take you to where you are in the future. And I thought about how I'm never grateful and happy about where I am. I'm always upset that I'm not where I want to be.
Yeah.
But I should have gratitude that I'm not where I used to be. Like I've come so far. I should be happy about that. But instead I'm sitting here whining that I'm not than I am. So it was really, it helped me a lot to like have some gratitude and self-compassion.
Oh, that's very cool to hear. Thank you for sharing. I really love how in all of the different listens that I'm always, of course, listening to different little YouTube segments and things like that. But I love that the way that they talk about that. And I for some reason it's been, well, not for some reason, I've been asking, and it's deepening within me to understand that more important than the words that we say, it's the underlying feeling that we have. That's what is the attraction, right? And so like you were saying, if you're constantly upset about what you don't have, then that underlying tone is what you're vibrating to. And so that's really good to recognize that, because then you can kind of shift that direction a little bit and vibe more to, like you were saying, the gratitude of everything that you do have, so that more of that can come to you. So that's very cool. Anybody else? Any insights from last time?
Oh, whoops. Yeah, that comment that she was making about gratitude, I finally see that now. Because I know I used to write down like 3 things every day about gratitude, and then I stopped. And then I was reading this other book about law of attraction, and it explains it in a more layman's term versus the way that the Hicks group explains it.
Uh-huh.
So it was talking about basically how you're supposed to be grateful and have gratitude about, everything. Because I forgot the explanation that he gave, but it's like writing down basically what you're grateful for, you know? Like I had a moment this morning. My mom asked me to do a chore, and I'm like, oh, why do I have to do it? It's always me that's doing the chores. It's always me that's having to do the hard work. And why can't you help? And why can't your sister help? And then I said, well, you know what? Wait, I should be grateful that we have, you know, what we have, a place to live and all the essentials that come with it. And, you know, we could be worse off. And, you know, yeah, I should just do it. So I was just like, okay. So I just did it. And it wasn't that bad
Yeah,
as I was making it out to be. You
yeah,
know, I think the part that was frustrating was that she asked me to do it and then she said, oh, well, you don't have to do it, but if you want to do it, but if you have time to do it. And I'm like, really? You're giving me options to do it, but you know I'm going to do it anyway because you're not going to do it. Trisha's not going to do it, so I have to do it. So I'm going to start writing down 3 things that I'm grateful for to kind of humble myself a little bit, you know? Because
yeah,
it's just like those everyday chores, those everyday things you have to do, they become a little bit of a burden, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Like
But
why do I have to?
in a certain way though, I think that the everyday stuff that we have that, you know, I think there is gratitude within that because taking a look at where you are and what you get to do, I think is a beautiful thing, right? You have a wonderful home that you get to do these chores in, and that's great. And so I think kind of shifting over to that mindset might help you with that, like you were saying. I have a client that I was talking to about a lot of this stuff. And, you know, he shared with me something that he does, which I just thought was so cool. He actually, his kids are grown. They're in their early 20s in college and, you know, off doing their thing. But each night he texts his kids, his family, 3 wins for the day. And that's how he calls it, my 3 wins for the day. And I just, it's the same concept of getting into gratitude for 3 good things that have happened for the day. And his idea on the word win, you know, the energy that's behind that, I thought was so cool. So I've been doing that with my daughter. And you know, she's funny. She doesn't really participate back, but she'll send me a little, it like lifts her up and it lifts me up. And it's a nice way to share with her and to be interactive with my family and to also just share out that positive energy. And so that's something too that you could consider.
Mm-hmm. Let's
Okay, well, let me get to the chapter. And if everybody is ready, does anybody have any other thoughts before we move on to reading? Process. What they say in there about gaining new insight each time you read the book, it is so true. So for those of you that are newer, you may not know, but this is going to be now my 3rd go around through the book. I did a book study previously, and then when they were done with this book, they wanted to move on, but I wasn't ready to move on. I wanted to dig in deeper. And so that in essence is why this meetup was created, because I wanted to invite other people that wanted to join me in that. And so my life has changed in so many glorious ways. And, you know, it's cool because the one thing that I've also gained from this, that you'll hear more of, is that, you know, it doesn't all have to happen like right now. I think we're all so used to like instantaneous results, right? And like there's certain aspects to my life that haven't dramatically changed, but there are other aspects to my life that have. And my underlying calmness in itself has made such a difference. And I completely grasp the idea of enjoying the unfolding of it, right? And so I just am super excited to be starting the book over. and to be sharing it with everyone that wants to share it. Any other thoughts before we move on to reading the process? I gotta stop saying it's so funny because it just is. I listened to a segment that spoke about that this morning, and the gentleman was talking about how he had joined like an MLM marketing, and he said that all of the speakers that he listened to were always talking about doing, and and he was really trying to grasp the concept of allowing and attracting. But they went there, they said, it isn't that you won't be doing things, it's that you'll be listening to the inner call, and then you'll be inspired to action, and then you'll know that those actions are coming from the inspiration of your inner being and your connection to source and the alignment. And so that's pretty cool that we're reading that process after I listened to that this morning.
I just wanted to add that in the book, The Amazing Power of Deliberate Intent, also by Esther and Jerry Hicks, there are a few of these processes that are expounded upon, and this one is one of them. And in this book, they list a couple of examples. So I'm not sure if perhaps you might, it might be appreciated if I read one of the examples.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just so that we have an idea of what it means to put it in the hands of the universal manager.
Absolutely, I would love that.
Okay, so let me give you the topics, and we can pick one of them because there are quite a few to choose from. So there's a neighbor's situation, a home maintenance situation, an adult-child situation, an abundance situation, loneliness, meddling parent, acting career, and there are a couple more: financial imbalance, financial security, travel situation, environmental situation, government situation, government's financial deficit situation, national pride situation. Okay, that's all of them.
What does any of those resonate to anyone that you'd like to hear that specific scenario?
Abundance.
The abundance, okay.
Okay.
All right, the abundance situation. My husband and I have both had jobs for years, and we have saved some money. Not a lot, but enough to live on for a year. We had a really great idea for our own business, and we had a friend who had enough money to help us get started. But now, after 2 years, we're still taking money from our savings to live on, and our balance is going down fast. I feel worried. I feel discouraged. But now, I remember that I have this capable, effective, willing universal manager who works expressly for me. So I ask for the following, doing my best to remember that this manager is really, really good and will be able to effectively satisfy my requests. And now you list your requests. Please line up a strong, steady flow of customers for us. Inspire a buzz around the area about our business. Inspire us to perform any appropriate action. Help our friend feel our genuine appreciation for his help. Bring us the staff we will need to operate this expanding business. That's all for now. Thanks for taking care of these things. So the idea is, first, grab that emotional guidance scale, figure out where you are. Then from that place of knowing where you are and knowing what things that might come about or bring about the results you're looking for, to list them. And they're not things that you're not just going to run out to the street and start bringing people in. Hey, come into our business, come into my business. Right? But if you put it out there to the universe that that's what you want people to come into your business because you have something to offer, and that's what you're focusing on, then that's what you're attracting. And by putting it out there and saying, you know what, this universal manager's got that. That's not my job.
Yeah, it's very similar, I feel, to the placemat process. Which is
Yes.
cool. We will eventually get to that process in our study over the next weeks. But yeah, and you know, it's kind of cool that this one came up, because I do know, and I know that a lot of us can sense the kind of the heat it has been in the air, you know, over the summer and the last and probably even, you know, through the next couple months. And so this is a great way to kind of work through that and shift a little.
Mhm.
And I really like that I listened to something today where the discussion was about relief, and the two words they talked about were relief and satisfaction.
Yeah.
And so relief is what you're really striving for, the next feeling of relief, but above that, satisfaction's like the goal, right? But if you're not ready to be right up at satisfaction, like with that emotional set point, you start for what's going to be the next most close relieving jump on that emotional set point scale. You know, and actually, if you guys would like, we have, I'm going to go ahead and just screen share it real quick. Sonia is a co-manager of this group. She has stepped up to volunteer to kind of co-manage with me. And so she provided us with this cool, because, you know, the book provides you with an emotional guidance scale, but there's words that are not in there that come up. And so she kind of gave a expanded version of it, and showing the difference in resistance and non-resistance, right? So if we're down here in these areas, which is kind of what the beginning told us, like if we're somewhere between, I think it was 17 and 10, if that's where you are, then you're looking for like that next step up of relief, until you can get yourself, you know, up further and further, and then you can go from maybe a relief from one bigger resistance to lesser resistance, and then up into that non-resistance place where we could really go, I would say, from a general sense of relief to more of satisfaction. Does anyone else have any thoughts on this or on what was read?
The emotional, that page that Christina is sharing is available on the meetup site under the pictures. So you should be able to go right to the meetup page and find that there.
Also, the book is actually on sale for some reason on Amazon.
Oh, great.
I got it for like less than $10.
It's
Wow.
not for some reason. It's for those of us that need
Hey,
books.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Cool. Thank you
Do
for
we know
sharing
if
that.
there's any PDF available online?
PDF of the book,
Yeah.
that I'm not sure. I would imagine that I would imagine that there's like I don't know. I don't do the I don't do the electronic reading, but I would imagine there's an electronic copy somewhere.
Oh yeah, you can get the book probably through your local library. There's an audio version as well as the digital version. Plus, if you go to YouTube, you can also find an audio version of the whole book.
Yay.
Wow.
Sonia, what's the name of the book again?
The name of the second book is The Amazing Power of Deliberate Intent.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I also see Asking It is given multiple copies every time I go to a Goodwill. I don't know why it's always there.
Wow, cool. Huh.
Okay.
I would never be able to give up my copy.
I know, me either. Well, it's awesome though that it's then maybe someone that wouldn't necessarily, if you see them all over, it's a good thing you're here.
Mhm.
Okay, so for the next couple of weeks, it's kind of an easy process. We get to practice the manager. So if we're kind of feeling down in there, then you can kind of write that list of things that you want to delegate out to the law of attraction. I am looking forward to hearing how everyone does with this.
Are there any questions about how to go about the process? Excellent.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, I was just looking on the meetup. I'm not seeing the picture that you had put up.
That's weird. I'm not sure why. Let me see if I can, sometimes I can share the, Sonia posted it up there, so it's got to be there somewhere, but let me see if I can.
Where is it?
Missional guidance.
Okay, so if you go to the main page for the Ask and It Is Given meetup, and then scroll down from that main page to the section where it says photos. There should be 9 photos listed. And you have to scroll down the page until you get past the upcoming events and past events, and then, oh, there's the photos.
I must be looking on the wrong page. Hold on.
Okay.
I also did just share it onto the chat, so you might just be able to kind of pull it off.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, no problem.
There is actually a newer version of that. I should replace the
It's updated again, huh?
Yes, it's been updated again. So now the other thing to recognize, the reason why there are different words on this list, and the reason these words are not on the emotional guidance scale list in the book is because not all the words will hit you the same way. So if you're looking at that first line, there are a lot of words there. And as I went through them the other day, I was reading each one, and I just wanted to get in that super duper high happy place. So I was reading each word and I was getting into the feeling of it. And then I went through equality, peace, clarity, joy, woohoo, knowledge, empowerment. Yeah, I got to freedom. And all of a sudden I realized, you know what? That's not a number one high flying disc word for me. Free is. But freedom hits me differently. Freedom, I hear in my head, free from something. And it's the something that my brain just trips on. So not every word is going to hit everybody the same exact way. And that's why the words that were on that original list are the ones that were chosen, because some other words can have a different meaning to some people. But through the many sessions that I've heard, these are just the additional words that I've heard them place on the list in these areas. And they will say typically that it's on par with something else in that same line. And that's why it winds up in that area. So these words, while they are a really good scale, you have to use your own discernment as well to decide whether or not that word fits where we are placing it on the list. I mean, maybe you're like me and freedom is not the right word. Maybe free is a better word for you. And it'll be something like that. You just have to feel for yourself where they fall in the gauge.
Well, and the idea that it is a guidance scale, that's exactly what it is, because like Sonia said, how you're gonna feel about a word may be different than how I feel or she feels or anybody else feels. And that's what's most important, is to, like she said, discern that for yourself. Because ultimately, once you get more familiar and better with it, then it's the feeling and the emotion behind it that's actually more important than the words. Like they said in the beginning chapter, words don't teach, your experience does. But this is a way for you to really deepen the understanding of your emotions and what they're telling you and where you're at on that scale. So any other questions, thoughts, closing thoughts, anything like that for the evening?
I have a question. I find it sometimes it's difficult for me to give it to the manager. I've been familiar with Abraham Hicks for a while, and so I'm just curious for if anyone on the call has truly allowed that to just be, and if you have any success stories with it. I usually find a lot of encouragement in the success stories.
Please feel free to share.
Well, I can jump in with.
I think Gemma, you had a thumbs up. Just 1 second. Did that mean that you had something to share about that?
No, but I'm with her. I like the question, and I have a similar
Okay.
desire.
Okay.
Story.
Sonia, go ahead.
So when I have a moment where I'm realizing that I'm trying to do too much, I'm getting overwhelmed, I will remind myself that that's not my job. You know what? It's not my job to figure out all the hows. It's not my job to worry about how everything's going to get done. I know that I am attracting my resources. I know that I am the creator of my experience because of the vibration that I'm emitting. So because of that, if I can remind myself of that, then it becomes easier for me to say, I can pass that off to the manager, because and that's really what it comes down to for me, is just reminding myself that it is not my job to figure out all the hows. And that is my key. I don't know if that would work for all situations, but that's the thing that I use, the trigger that I use to push me back into pass it off. I
made a big move this last year, and some of you know this, some of you don't, but I was moving out of a situation with a relationship, and I needed to move on my own. But there were a couple of things that were holding me back, as a lot of you can imagine, the fear of the prices in real estate and how things are right now, and the fears around that. What some of you don't know is that I also had a very dear best friend that had been living with me as well, along with my relationship that was ending. And she is someone I've known for years and years and years. And I had promised her that I would never let her fall, and that I would always take care of her, right? And so I embarked upon this journey where I was looking at potential rent to own options and all of this kind of stuff. And I was scrambling, but I was scrambling not just to take care of me. I was scrambling to take care of not just me. I was scrambling to take care of other people. And it was interesting because a dear new friend of mine named Sonia presented to me an option. And she knew someone that had a little rental, potential opportunity for a rental. And then the first thing that I learned about it was that it was a 1-bedroom. And, I fought tooth and nail to try to make a different situation work so that I could take care of everybody else. And there, I had to let go, and I had to hand it over, because the truth was that I had to take care of me. And what I was doing in the scenario I was in with my friend was enabling her to not stand up and take care of herself. And in essence, really telling her that she didn't have to, or that she couldn't, and that I would do it for her. And that wasn't helping me, and it wasn't helping her. And I had come up with every reason why this scenario wouldn't work. That, well, I have too many cats. They're not going to want to rent to me because I have my cats. They, this and that, every single thing. But the person that I am renting from now said, I trust her intuition, and why don't you just come check out the place and we can talk about it? And I did. And when I got here, I've told part of this story before, but I was going through this process. I work with a spiritual coach, and I work with, another woman that I've met through this journey and what have you. And the beautiful pink bougainvilleas, right? They kept coming to me in different ways. And it was almost like I was being sent these little messages that I was on the right path. I was on the right path. And that's how I felt about it. And as soon as I walked in the front door here, this window that's back here, you can't tell right now because it's nighttime. It had that beautiful bougainvillea right in my window. And the weekend before I came, I had to let go of the idea that I was still trying to control outer things to take care of everyone else. And I allowed myself to let go and truly take care of me. And I had to hand that over to be able to do that. And so I hope that story matches what you were asking for, because here I am in this beautiful rental, and the price was right, and the home is right, and the experience is so much more amazing than I could have ever imagined. But I had to let go and give it up to get here.
Wow, it's amazing. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm talk about grateful. I am grateful every moment of every day for beginning this journey, for meeting the people I've met, for the connections that have happened. And I've had it happen where people have said, oh, well, that just fell in your lap, you're just lucky. But you know what? I know it's more than that. I know that I opened up doors that brought me things I didn't even know were gonna come in that way, because I opened up these doors and started working these process and deepening my experience with it. And so I'm like hands down grateful for where I'm at because of all of that. So
Such a great story.
I can't even tell you. So well, I just did, but okay. So any other thoughts or questions or anything like that? All right, well, I think we are off to a great start. I'm super excited for this journey with you guys. Hopefully we'll be connecting even deeper as the weeks go by. And I look forward to seeing everybody again in a couple of weeks if you're open to coming back.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Goodness.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good week.
Have
Good
a-
2 weeks.
Have a good
Bye.
one. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.